A beautiful evening to you and welcome to yet another massive moment of Sport Extraordinary right here on Atlantic Television Network. Here we talk the extraordinary things in the world of sport. My name is Emmanuel Mike. Glad to be your host on the show this evening. Big talking point coming your way as Rivers United. Yes, I can tell that they've been drawn against some of the powerhouse in the CAF Champions League. And of course, Arsenal maintain their momentum in the English Premier League, while Manchester City continue to close in the gap. And coming in from the local scene in the Nigerian Premier Football League, Nasarawa United has been dethroned at the top of the summit by Abia Warriors. All these and many more is going to form the bulk of our conversation right here on the show this evening. Well, you know how we do it. I'll take a quick break. When I'm back, we'll dive straight to the business of the day. Don't go anywhere. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. Here with me this evening to take a look at some of these interesting sporting gist that we have for you is Ekpo Temple. Temple, good evening and welcome to Sport Extra.
Yeah, it's a beautiful evening and the pleasure is mine.
All right, so let's get off from the Nigerian Premier Football League because there were some results that came through over the weekend as Barao FC were held at home by Wiki Tories 0-0. It ended Bayelsa United defeated Plateau United 2-1, while Academy Warriors played 0-0 against Enugu Rangers. Enyimba of Aba defeated Kano Pillars 2-0, while Ikorodu City beat Kun Khalifat FC 2-0. Niger Tornadoes lost at home to Abia Warriors 1-2, while Rivers United got a slim victory over Nasarawa United 1-0. It ended. And of course, Finidi George spoke shortly after that game. He said that his team will continue to, of course, improve in their game so far. He talked about their defensive angle, which they need to improve. And of course, about the shape and form, how his team is set out. Tempo, despite the fact that Rivers United were playing at home, some expected them to get a convincing win against the table toppers, but then I look as though they struggled to get a victory in that particular one. 1-0 it ended. Rivers United scoring goals has been their bane. It has been their major challenge since the start of the last season down till now. Don't you think that Finidi George need to work in that angle to ensure that at least they score goals, as much as possible?
For Rivers United, I think they have played 9 games, won 4. They've drawn 4, and they've lost 1. They've scored 6 goals so far this season, and they've conceded 3. They have -3, advantage of 3. So you put all this in perspective, they have like 3 games outstanding because of their continental engagement. You look at all of this and you think that they are really, really suffering, in terms of goal scoring. And if you want to be part of those who win the league, you need to also have a very good goal record. Maybe you say it's marked 11, yes, but then goal scoring can also be a very good turn to know how to shape the nature of the league. So yes, I agree with you. Goal scoring has been a challenge for them, but Finidi thinks that the boys are just getting up. The attention was drift to the continental activities. I'm sure that now that they are already inside, they are sure of the ticket. Maybe they will concentrate a little bit and they see how far. Even if you get 1-1 a win, it's not enough. You need some goals to also shoulder your strength when it comes to balancing your prowess. Go for matters so much, in the league. And sometimes if those goals are not coming, you need prolific striker who can also always be attack-minded to knock the ball and get the ball at the back of the net. But like I said, it's work in progress for his team. Joe, keep our finger crossed. When you are seated within the 8th, 7th position, you just think that maybe it's not a good place for them playing in the CAF Champions League. But who says in the MPFL, every team struggles. Every team strives to pick maximum point away from home to be among those that will not be in the relegation zone. So Rivers United needs to wake up because the strength of your home games determine how far you also go in the continent. You cannot be doing so well at the continental level and then do not do same. That's why you need to have a very large score depth. So I think he does need a whole lot of work to do, or have a lot of work to do when it comes to striking options and ensuring that he balances his team, playing winning games, and then also scoring goals.
Massive one, you need to balance your team by playing games, scoring goals and conceding less. That is the way to go if you truly want to, of course, be crowned champion at the end of the season. And that is one angle that Rivers United need to improve in terms of their firepower up front. They seem to be lacking of leakages. They want to see in front of goal. And inability to score much goals in a match can, of course, cost you games. But then we understand that defense wins you title, but then scoring goals as well is also helpful in terms of shaping up a team, the way it is structured. The Arsenals of this one we are talking about, the ability to score goals and concede less has been a major vocal point for Arsenal this season. And this is one thing that teams that truly want to win titles most do. Another result, we saw Shooting Stars also being held at home by Katsina United, while Bendel Insurance couldn't ensure all 3 points because they were held at home by Warri Wolves in that particular one. Kwara United beat Rainbow Stars, the defending champion, 3 goals to 1. Tempo, Rainbow Stars, the defending champion, they seems to have started the season very shaky so far this season, allowing teams like Abia Warriors and, of course, Nasarawa United up there in the first and second position. For Rainbow Stars, after their host in the CAF Champions League, one should have expected them to channel all their energy and their efforts into the league, but then it seems it is not the same story.
Yeah, it's not the same story, but don't forget that they still have some, standing games. They have like 3 outstanding games too. They played just 8 games this season and they've lost 4 games. So let's also believe that the continental engagement also affected their pursuit. They've won just 3 games this season, and I think that that's not the way to go. But after match day 11, you still think that a lot, they would group. They have to. My only challenge is how they lose games, like a normal trend. If you want to win the MPFL, you don't lose games like that. You scarcely lose games, and that's because you need to find a way to grind that point when it matters most. Unfortunately, when you lose 4 games already, and you already match the 4, every opponent feels that they can grind out something whenever they play you, and that's because the fear factor is no longer enshrined, within the circle of your team. So you need to start building a new mentality, start building a new indomitable team that makes it have an outlook that teams can respect and be feared. But keep up across, Ogumo Dede too is distracted as a person. You are in the national team. You are, you barely have time for the boys. I think that's not what Remo Stars need. Sincerely speaking, I'm not against the fact that he's part of the national team setup. But then, when it affects your team, because Remo Stars, with what they have done, should be a contending team at the continent every year. And for you to do that, you need to be chasing. You need to be chasing the title. You need to be at the top layer of the title. You don't need to be the chasing pack. You need to be at the front layer so that you can be sure whatever happens, you can pick that the ticket for your continental engagement. Unfortunately, they are going to swim now. They're going to trail others. And how long can they do that? We know how difficult the MPFA can be, and it's only a matter of time. But like I said, they have 3 outstanding games. Outstanding games are not point in the bag. Yeah. That's my fear, especially in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Time have shown that if you have outstanding games, you should worry more because opponent you can use it against you even.
True.
So you need to worry more and think of how to ensure that you sort out those games and start picking maximum point from home.
Start picking maximum point from home. Still talking about picking maximum point from home. Abia Warriors got all 3 points, and as we speak, Tempo Abia Warriors are currently seated at the top of the Nigerian Premier Football League. With Nasarawa United, though, they still have a game in hand, but then they'll be drifted to second position by Abia Warriors. Abia Warriors and Enyimba, these are 2 state-owned teams. But it looks as though Abia Warriors, they are flying more than the traditional title winner, talking about Enyimba. What is the difference?
I think it's about the management of the teams. It's about the tactical display. It's about the hunger for success and the drive. Imama and Mapakabo has really changed the narrative of how things should be done in the team. The same Imama went to Enugu Rangers and also showed that, come on, he's not a fluke. He knows his onion, he knows what he wants to achieve, and he goes about them the right way. He's a disciplinarian. He understands that, come on, if you must play for my team, then you need to play with tactics. So I think that we need to give him credit for that. So it's like I said, it's more of a leadership, and then the players. Abia Warriors players are players who play their tail within the circle of Nigeria. Some of the players, getting the right players that will play for you, that's one thing. For me, I think that Stanley Guma is trying. Generally, there seems to be, Enyimba is like the Manchester United of England. And there seems to be a lot of challenge. I do not think that Guma is not doing his best tactically, but it goes beyond tactics. Ask yourself, the level of the level of the caliber of Eyimba, do they still have those kind of players? You know, I'm not sure they do. So you need to start scouting players that fits that pedigree that Eyimba has. Eyimba is swimming under lost glory or past glory. And if we must regain that Eyimba that we knew, you need to also do what others were doing before then. So I asked myself, the challenge of Eyimba is between the management of the club and then the coaching staff. Instead, the coaching staff are not doing their best to galvanize the players, or maybe Eyimba thinking now is let's go into another route that will build our players and you know, get them to be our own, rather than getting the big names circled within our team, you know, and then paying them huge amount of money. No, so maybe that's want to start building their own now, but it will take time. Recently they gave the manager 2 months, too much ultimatum. He won 2-0 now, so I'm sure that winning against Canopilla was a big one, because to win against Canopilla it takes a whole lot. But so I just think that even if he gets past the ultimatum and something happens later on, will you give him another ultimatum? So we need to look at it from that prism. And for me, I still feel that Eyimba has an underlying challenge that they need. The scourge that is affecting them is scourge of depth and the fact that they do not have a quality that they deserve to prosecute the league. So they need to humble themselves to ask themselves, what do we want to build for long term or short term success, and then get the best of players in the league? Do we have the funds? The man at the helm of Affair, Kanu Wanko, is he still the man that can deliver? Look at what Anansi Agu did in his time. Can he play those politics? Is that what is affecting the club? Because a lot of questions need to be answered. Until then, how can we get it right in the Eyimba Football Club?
Until then, we see how to get it right with Eyimba Football Club, because Eyimba seems to have lost that fear factor. That glory days is almost gone, because we've seen Eyimba, you know, continue to struggle since you know, Kanu Wanko took over as the chairman. It hasn't been that rosy. So many thought tempo that you know, Kanu Wanko coming in the administrative system, one who have played the game to the highest level. Some thought, yeah, this is the change that they needed at that point in time to be able to stabilize, you know, Eyimba and bring them to that, you know, glory days where they can be able to compete against some of the best teams in Africa. But then, take a look at the leadership of Kanu Wanko in the administrative circle. Do you think that he has been able to live up to expectations?
Yes, in terms of still keeping Eyimba at the level of global admiration, he has coloration, yes, structure, but then depth. And when I mean depth is style of play. To bring the fans activities is still going on, because I was in a bar recently and I discovered that yeah, they still have that penchant. But when you don't win games, Eyimba are known for they are more like the stronghold of Nigerian football. When you don't win games and when you are beatable, I mean, normally some fan base will begin to, you know, doubt your capacity. You know, so I think that in that area, scouting of the right players that are suiting to the club philosophy is an area that he needs to work on. And certainly, it all boils down to where are we going with the club? What is the vision of this club in the long run? You got a manager like Stanley Guma, a veteran, no doubt. But is he the kind of manager that you should bring at this point? You ask yourself, because we know the struggle that Eguma had, and how Barrister Green's effort, you know, also elevated, because Rivers State government were pumping in, the players were motivated. Is that the level of motivations that we still have there? When you get a coach like Eguma, I'm no disregard for his personality, but I still think that you cannot compare tactically the level of Eguma and that of Imama Mapakabo. You cannot keep them on the same plate. No disrespect to Egoma, but I'm just saying from the perspective of being a sports journalist, and that's it. So I think that you need to ask yourself a lot of questions. You need some kind of coaches that can get players, coaches that can get young players and get them to doing what they want, and they will deliver. All right, but then, like I said, you need to, there are underlying questions for Hikano Wanko. He needs to also ask, you know, what have been done before. How I'm sure he knows the story. He knows the story. He is not alien to the story of Eyimba. But if they want to change the narrative from what they are used to as a club, the tradition of a club, then it will take you some time. Maybe they have accepted it that way. Maybe they don't want to be in the continent. But for Enyimba to now be back to back, not being in the continent, is a shame. And something needs to be added. Because even the likes of Al-Ali, the big names, Esperance, TP Mazambe, you always see them hovering around. It's difficult to go 4 years without being in the continent. And Enyimba is going that route now, which is unfortunate for Nigerian football because arguably that's the only name that has made an impact at the level of the continent. So why with that name, and they're still existing, they're still playing well, but yet they cannot qualify to play the continent? Then something is strategically not right with the vision. That vision needs to be worked upon if they must start competing highly.
That vision needs to be worked upon if they truly want to compete at the highest level among the best elite football club in Africa. Then Enyimba need to brace up to the occasion and start doing the right things so as for them to get it right. Still talking about the dominance of African football by some clubs. Temple, I can tell you that a Nigeria representative in the CAF Champions League, talking about Rivers United, has been drawn alongside holders, talking about Pyramid, RS Bekane, and Power Dynamos in Group A. The draw took the draw ceremony took place a few hours ago. Temple, the popular, I call it popular network television out there in South Africa, and Rivers United rather find themselves in Group A. Group of death. So many football pundits have tagged this very one. Can Rivers United rather come out of that group?
A lot of people think it's about because of ROS Bakane and Pyramid, so you call it group of death. Check out group or group B, check out group D. Yes, group of death because we are not at the level of these teams at the continent. Otherwise, I don't think it's a group of death. I think that if he must beat the champion. Imagine that by virtue of qualifying, you all start one of the challengers that would have challenged you in the quarterfinals and semi-finals. Yeah. So it's normal. It's normal. I think that Rivers United needs to brace up. The CAF Champions League isn't for fluke. It's not the place where you want to come and test the waters. You want to buy experience. It's a place where they assume that you already know what you're doing. So Rivers United must brace up because they're playing champions. They may not be the champions of the Nigerian Premier Football League, but when you play at the level of the continent, you make more money when you win, and then you also write your name in gold when you go far. So Rivers United, they need to brace up and know that Pyramid FC, they are high contenders in that group. You cannot also rule out the fact that ROS Bekane struggled to qualify. They had to wait till the last round for them to qualify. Yet they are now doing so well. Champions of Morocco. Let's keep our finger crossed. But I mean that even Power Dynamos, there's no name in that group that is easy bite. Rivers United themselves need to also have a way of creating that fear factor. And how do you do this? This is a team that will go away from home and beat you hands down. So you too, you need to. Their work is cut out. They need to do everything possible to win away from home and also try to get to travel. To be at home and win. If you don't do that, it will be very dicey to say that they will qualify. But football is not scripted, so I keep my finger crossed.
Still talking about Rivers United and a Group A, which they find themselves. This is the first time that Rivers United will be playing at this very stage. Do you think that inexperience is going to play any key role towards their advancements?
It depends. It depends on the mentality that you go into. You may not have played at that level, but you have watched, you have known, you have studied it. You have asked questions. You know how Enyimba went and did in Nesford, back to back. So it's something starts from once. The first era where they played in the continent, they went all the way, qualified to the quarterfinals. So I think that they too need to also ask themselves, okay, what can we do? We saw what they did against the Black Bull of Mozambique. I think that first thing first is do not judge the team by their names. You need to prepare yourself, package yourself. Do you have the right group of players? If you do, then create a formidable squad within your circle. It's not the ones that they play here. They struggle to play with teams in the the solid miners, and they want them one need. These are teams that plays come and prepare. They come down well energized to play you. So Rivers United needs to also be prepared to that level. only then can they get something from the group. But like I said, your home or away matters, because at that level, this team are no respecter of your ground. It is getting the maximum point on the very day. West United need to brace up, get the right players with the right mentality, with the right tactics. I don't think it is 11 players. Deliver yourself, and I mean, when they qualified to play in the CAF second round, nobody gave them a chance. But yes, they show that they can do it, and I just hope that they can still show that strength this time around.
We just hope that Rivers United can show that strength once again, having been drawn alongside some of the strongest team right here in the continent of Africa, as they hope and aspire to, of course, break the 20-something years jinx that haven't seen any Nigerian club side head to the final, possibly leave the CAF Champions League after Enyimba did that in 2003, stroke 2004, under the then governor, Oji Uzo Carlo. We hope that Rivers United can be able to find such a succor to replicate such a mentality that Enyimba showed so many years ago. But then, at this point, let's take a quick break. When we are back, I will serve you more of the footballing stories right here on Atlantic Television Network. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be back in a jiffy. All right, so you're welcome back from that short break. In the first half, we told you how Abia Warriors has dethroned Nasarawa United at the top of Nigerian Premier Football League over the weekend, courtesy of their impressive victory. While we also brought you a story that in the CAF Champions League, Rivers United has been drawn in a what has been tagged as a group of death. But then let's continue with the rest of the stories, because I can tell you this evening that the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has announced that video assistant referee will be used in the 2026 Continental FIFA World Cup playoff later this month. And Nigeria will resume their hunt for the 2026 FIFA World Cup ticket when they face Gabon in the playoff semi-final on Thursday, November 13th in Rabat, far away in Morocco. The Super Eagles finished second in Group C, but made a playoff by virtue of being one of the best second-place teams that will compete in 4-team tournament alongside Gabon, DR Congo, and Cameroon, with the winner of the Nigerian-Gabon tie facing the victor of DR Congo and the Cameroon clash. So Tempo VAR is certainly going to be deployed by CAF for the playoff. This is to, of course, show that they are also improving, while FIFA also improving technologically wise. CAF is not also left aside.
Yeah, if you are a lover of good football in Europe, you will be conversant with the use of VAR. Okay. Yes, in CAF, it's been tested at some level, at some tournaments, but then you ask yourself, why are we using it now? Whereas we're unable to use it at the start of the qualifiers. And then the question will be, maybe we'll have less manpower to manage those games. But in CAF Champions League, I think I've seen CAF deploy such. The AFCON, I've seen CAF deploy such. Maybe to monitor those that will qualify. And that's why it's more difficult now. For example, Nigeria played the goal that we scored against which country was that? When Bassi scored in these qualifiers recently. That goal would have been ruled out if video assistant referee was in that game. So I think that while we rejoice, we need to also be careful, because we might be victim of circumstance. The video assistant referee shows no mercy to anybody. It could happen. So you need to be prolific. You need to be offensive. You need to be defensive. You need to have a balance of play, so that whatever happens, the outcome of the match does not affect you. That's what it means. You need to be open-hearted. Your players need to be ready to have machine a part of their game. So you need to be very, very careful. So for me, I take it with ambivalent feeling, because Nigeria can muzzle itself. But what if it happens to us? It's really dicey. It can be very funny. But like I said, I'm still very optimistic that we cannot go less. Rather, we'll go forward. And I believe that VAR, has come to stay. We need to start embracing it. But we need to be prepared for it all the way around, so that the outcome of this game, whether it's via VAR, it's positive towards us.
Of course, we must be able to maximize and, of course, make sure that we are able to use the VAR to the best of interest of so many teams out there. Of course, it has come to stay. Yes, I can tell you that for sure. And it's now making some of those contentious decisions very clear, where center ref will go through the VAR to check over and over again for a decision before giving a final verdict. And of course, we can also take advantage of this. Let's talk about the under 17 Women's World Cup, because Mexico and the Netherlands booked their places in the semi-final of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Morocco after two dramatic penalty shootouts on Sunday night. Mexico triumphed 5-4 on penalties after a goalless 90 minutes draw, despite Italy's stronger tournament record of 14 goals scored and only 4 conceded. Mexico's solid defense and composure under pressure saw them through to their 8th semi-final, with their best ever finish being runner-up in 2018. In another thriller, the Netherlands defeated France 7-6 on penalties after a 2-2 draw. Upcoming semi-final will see Brazil lock-ons against North Korea. Netherlands, 3 tackles against Mexico. Meanwhile, the third place match and final will be played on Saturday, November 8 in Rabat. Is in faraway Morocco. So Tempo, the team that whitewashed the Flamingos, talking about the Italians, 4-0. They had a very good record route to that game against their opponent, but then they lost that particular one.
Yeah, they lost, and that's the beauty of knockout stages. Anything can happen. You can have a brilliant result throughout the group stages, and then when you come to this level, you need to be clinical. You need to do the business, within the time frame. Otherwise, anything can happen. And if you have to be faced with opponents that are very tricky, then you know that it won't be easy. So look at how they were, messed up by Mexico. So I just think that they failed to do something on that day. And against Nigeria, they were a better side as compared to Nigeria in this edition. When they were faced with Mexico, Mexico were more tactical, and so it became very difficult for them. It ended via penalty. So I'm not surprised at all, because anything can happen. If the big names like France hosted out, big names like Spain hosted out. I mean, only Brazil that is still reigning supreme there, and probably Netherlands. So we'll keep our finger crossed to see where the pendulum will actually swing to, because the way I'm looking at the semi-final pairing, a lot of surprises will still emerge.
A lot of surprises will certainly emerge looking at the pairing out there. But then Italy, that hosted out the Flamingos, has also been knocked out of the competition by Mexico. Let's head straight to the English Premier League and survey some of the results that came through over the weekend, because West Ham beat Newcastle United 3-1. Manchester City also beat Bournemouth 3-1. While on Saturday we saw Brighton and Hove Albion defeat Leeds 3-0. And of course, Burnley were also beaten by Arsenal 2-0. Crystal Palace 2, Brentford 0, Fulham 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0, Chelsea 1. Meanwhile, in other results, we saw Liverpool, getting their mojo back against Aston Villa, because they won Aston Villa at Anfield by 2-0. The most talked about weekend game Tempo is about Manchester City, as they are gradually, finding their footing. They are now seated second on the log, 6 points adrift of the league leaders. Talking about Arsenal, can we now truly say that Manchester City is ready for the title battle?
The Manchester City will always be in the mix of those who are going to contest and compete highly for the English Premier League title every season. The reason is simple. They have very strong squad. When you look at revenue streams or the estimates per player, you think that they have a very wide set of players who can always deliver the goods. Those players are experienced when it comes to winning the league, and so you cannot rule them out easily. And then with the young blood that have been infused, Doko and the rest of them, they also want to win something for themselves. So I think that, they stand tall. Don't forget to Czechia. These players are gradually also blending too. Those players at Mamouche, the likes of Erling Haaland, who is doing the needful for them. When you have a striker like Haaland, you just go give the instruction and go and sleep, because the man knows how to. He have mastered the art of goal scoring. And when you have a player like that, who scored, that number of goals, 10 games, 11 games, he has scored 13 goals. The only game he has not scored was against Aston Villa. That tells you that, man, come on. If this guy continues to score like this, you are sure that you can beat any team. And that's what it means, because even if you don't have a good defense, your offense can speak volume, when it matters. And that's what they are riding on. But like I said, that team is still not, in my eye, it's still not a gel team. I saw the way they won against Bournemouth, and I think that a better team would have given them a problem.
True.
So something is still missing in the team. I don't think that the City side I saw, are they as fluid as the City side that we know before. But somehow things have really changed. But like I said, you need to be on your toes every match day. So if they can ride over Bournemouth, then it's good for them. But then no two games are alike. So yeah, 6 points, 6 points adrift of the league leaders. Anything can still happen. Arsenal are a team. Arsenal is a team that is not taken seriously by majority of persons because of the antecedent. But I mean, no two seasons are alike. Arsenal might have a different vision, thinking, and we've seen Arteta go in that direction. But instead of focusing on the teams that are coming after you, focus on yourself and see what you can do with the results that are before you.
All right, let's head straight to the La Liga. Because of time factor, we can tell you that some results popped up because Levante lost at home to Celta Vigo 2-1, while Alaves also beat Espanyol 2-1, Barcelona 3, Elche 1, Real Betis 3, Real Mallorca 0. On Saturday, we saw Villarreal beating Rayo Vallecano 4-0, Atletico Madrid 3, Sevilla 0, Real Sociedad 3, Atletico Bilbao 0, Real Madrid defeated Valencia 4-0. And on Friday, we saw that one between Getafe and Girona ending in favor of Getafe 2-1. It ended. To the Italian Serie A, some results came through as well as Verona were beaten by Inter Milan 2-1. Fiorentina lost at home to Lecce 1-0, while Torino played 2-2 against Pisa in that particular one. Of course, Bologna also were beaten 1-0 by AC Milan, while on Saturday, Udinese beat Lucumos Atalanta 1-0, while Napoli were held at home by Czech Fabregas Como 0. It ended. Cremonese lost at home to the Old Ladies, talking about Juventus 2-1. And more results coming in from other leagues. I can tell you that, in the French Ligue 1, Rennes whitewash Strasbourg 4-1, while Lille got a bit of Angers. Nantes were beaten at home by Metz 2-0, Lens 3, Lorient 0. Toulouse also were held at home by Le Havre. Brest played 0s against Lyon, while on Saturday we saw Paris Saint-Germain leaving it late against Nice 1-0. It ended, while Monaco lost to the Firepower and the solitary goal of our own Moise Simon, who scored the only goal for Paris FC to take all 3 points. In the German Bundesliga, some result also came through as FC Cologne beat Hamburger 4-1, Wolfsburg 2, Hoffenheim 3, Heidenheim 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 1. Mainz 05 played 1-1 against Werder Bremen, while RB Leipzig also beat Stuttgart 3-1. St. Pauli lost at home 4-0 against Borussia Mönchengladbach, while Union Berlin were held at home by Freiburg 0. It ended. Bayern Munich, with Harry Kane, who can't stop scoring, beat Leverkusen 3-0. Tempo, the big talk is about the progression of the man talking about Vincent Kompany. Not too many saw him, being this fantastic for the Bayern Munich side when he first got this job. But then, because of his convincing results so far, he has been given a new contract. Are you surprised by the way and manner Vincent Kompany has kept an impeccable record so far this season? 14 games without a defeat, all winning.
Yeah, I am. I'm quite surprised when you judge him from the previous season. And the reason is simple, because Bayern is always a strong, side. But when he came in, we saw what looks like an inexperience from him. And that also resulted to Bayern Leverkusen also chasing them down the pecking order. And I think that they have learned a lesson. I also think that him too has been humble enough to understand the tradition of the side, the philosophy, and he's now building a philosophy with the crop of players. And somehow too, I think he's gelling more with the players than the earlier time when he came. And so, and when you have a striker like Harry Kane, who is a goal poacher, you always know that you need to always get the needed results. And no doubt too, the administration of Bayern too have also done their part. They had some good trade in recent time. that generated some income with the club. So it looks like a rosy time because believe you me, if the administration of the club is not balanced, forget about it's what influences performances in the field. Sometimes is what happened behind the scene, as we know in the business side of sports. So I think that the man is gradually doing his work because there are motivation behind the scene.
All right, the man is doing his work, but there are motivation behind the scene, talking about the support he has gotten, of course, from the board, who has reposed so much confidence in him that he has been given new contract. But before we leave, I can tell you that our sport extraordinaire for today goes to no other person than Mohamed Salah. You know why? The Egyptian demigod became the third player in the Liverpool's history to score 250 goals, joining Roger Hunt and Ian Rush in that list. So he is our sport extraordinaire for this evening edition of the show. We thank you for sticking up with us this evening. Tomorrow morning we'll make a return for yet another bumper package of sport talk right here on Atlantic Television Network. Social media and of course the conversation. My name is Emmanuel Michael, the Prime Minister of the Airways, and we are saying gracias.